You have worked your entire life, you sacrificed, you stayed up late worrying about the bills, you skipped vacation so your kids could go to summer camp. Both of them have their own places. But Gerald, every single month, quietly transfers money into their bank accounts, not because they are starving, not because there is a real emergency, but because his son calls and says the rent went up, because his daughter says the car needs fixing. And Gerald, being the good father that he is, says yes, every single time. And here is what Gerald does not realize. Every time he says yes, he is making it a little bit harder for his children to figure out how to stand on their own 2 feet, and a little bit more impossible for himself to retire in peace. Gerald is not alone. Alone. Millions of parents in this country are doing exactly what Gerald is doing, and the ones who study money and human behavior the most have some very strong opinions about it. Warren Buffett, one of the most respected men alive when it comes to wealth and wisdom, has said publicly that more children are ruined, not by how much inheritance they receive, but by the behavior of their parents while they are growing up. He said that children learn from watching what you do, not from what you say. And his longtime partner and friend, the late Charlie Munger, a man who had 7 children of his own, once put it plainly, you cannot give people everything and expect them to develop the hunger to go out and earn it themselves. So let us talk about the first thing you should stop doing after 50, and this one is going to sting for a lot of people, because it feels so natural, so loving, so right. And yet, it is one of the most quietly damaging habits a parent can have. Paying your adult children's regular bills, not an emergency, not a medical crisis. I am talking about rent, groceries, car payments, phone bills, the everyday cost of being an adult. When you cover those things on a regular basis, you are not helping your child. You are stealing something from them. You are stealing the experience of figuring it out. And figuring it out is exactly where confidence is born. Think about it this way. When you were young, maybe in your 20s, there were months when money was tight, really tight. And you remember those months, don't you? You got creative, you cut back, you called around, you found a second job, or you moved somewhere cheaper, or you asked your landlord for a few extra days. You learned, you grew. That struggle, as uncomfortable as it was, made you the resourceful person you are today. Now ask yourself honestly, if someone had stepped in every single time and solved the problem for you, would you have developed that strength? The answer is no. Buffett has said this directly. If you are wealthy and your children lack motivation, the responsibility ultimately falls on the parents. Not because parents are bad people, but because the decisions parents make shape what their children believe is possible and what is expected of them. When a child, even an adult child, knows that mom or dad will always step in, they stop pushing themselves to solve problems. It is not because they are lazy, it is because human beings, just like businesses, take the path of least resistance when it is available to them. And here is the part that so many parents miss. This is not just hurting your children, it is hurting you. You are over 50, you have your own future to think about, your retirement savings, your health costs, your peace of mind. When you are regularly sending money to your adult kids, that is money that is not growing for you. And when you are 70 or 75, and you need care, or your roof needs replacing, or inflation has eaten away at what you saved, that help will not be there waiting for you. Charlie Munger said it simply, you cannot spend the same dollar twice. Every dollar that goes out of your account to solve a problem your child should be solving is a dollar that cannot compound and grow and protect you later. Now I know what some of you are thinking, but what if they are really struggling? And that is a fair question. There is a difference between a genuine emergency, a medical bill, a job loss, a real crisis, and the ordinary difficulty of adult life. Genuine emergencies are a different story. Family helps in a crisis. But the day-to-day expenses of being a grown adult, that is not your responsibility anymore. And the kindest, most loving thing you can do is let your children feel the weight of that responsibility, because that weight is what builds strength. Stay with me, because the second thing is something you might not even notice you are doing, and it is one of the most emotionally draining patterns I have ever seen in families. It involves solving problems that are not yours to solve. Here is what this looks like in real life. Your adult daughter is having trouble in her marriage. She calls you, and within minutes you are giving advice, making phone calls, getting involved, losing sleep. Your son got passed over for a promotion and now you are more upset about it than he is. You are carrying stress that belongs to someone else. And when you do that, when you make your child's problems your problems, you are doing 2 things at once. First, you are draining your own energy, your own health, your own emotional peace. And second, you are sending your child a silent message. I do not believe you can handle this. even if you never say those words out loud. That message lands. Over time, your adult child will either become dependent on your involvement, or they will stop sharing things with you altogether, because every conversation turns into a rescue mission. Warren Buffett is famous for how he handles difficulty. He sits with the problem, he thinks, he waits, he does not panic, and he does not act impulsively. He once said that the difference between people who make good decisions and people who make poor ones is often nothing more than patience, the willingness to sit with discomfort long enough to see clearly. That same principle applies to parenting. Sometimes the best thing a parent can do is nothing. To listen, to say, I believe in you, I know you can figure this out, and then to actually let them figure it out. This does not mean being cold. It does not mean you stop caring. You can love your children fiercely and still refuse to carry their burdens. In fact, that is what real love looks like at this stage of life. Not solving, but supporting. Not doing, but believing. And now I want to talk about something that costs more than money, and that is something most people never even put a name to. It is the habit of saying yes when everything inside you is screaming no, and this one is personal. This one lives in the body. The third thing you must stop doing is sacrificing your own peace to keep everyone else comfortable. This shows up in so many ways. You cancel your own doctor's appointment because your adult child needs a babysitter. You skip a trip you have wanted to take for years because you are worried someone might need you. You sit at family dinners biting your tongue, saying nothing, walking on eggshells, just to keep the peace. And slowly, over years, you lose yourself. You stop being a person. You become a function. Charlie Munger was known for something he called inversion. Instead of asking, what should I do to be happy, he would ask, what are the things that are most likely to make my life miserable, and how do I avoid them? If you apply that thinking here, the answer becomes clear. One of the greatest sources of misery for people over 50 is the constant erosion of their own needs in service of adults who should, by now, be managing their own lives. And the cruel irony is that this sacrifice does not make your children more capable. It makes them less. Because when you show up as an endlessly available, needs-free resource, they never have to consider that you are a person with limits. They never have to grow into the consideration and responsibility that come with recognizing that your peace matters, your sleep matters, your health matters, your retirement matters, the quality of your own life, the years you have left, matters deeply and completely, not more than your children, but just as much, and you are allowed to act accordingly. Now let us slow down for just a moment, because the fourth thing, this last one, is the one that most people resist the hardest. It is not about money, it is not about energy. It is about something most parents hold on to longer than anything else, and that is this: the belief that it is your job to fix how your adult children feel. When your son is unhappy, you want to fix it. When one door to fix it poured your world adult children feel. When your daughter is anxious, you want to take the feeling away. When there is conflict in their lives, when they are disappointed, when things do not go their way, you absorb it, you feel it, you take it on as your personal failure, if they are not okay. And this pattern is perhaps the most exhausting and least useful thing a parent can continue doing past the age of 50. Here is the truth. Your children's emotional lives are their own. Their frustrations, their disappointments, their struggles with anxiety or sadness or uncertainty, those are theirs to feel and work through, not because you do not love them, but because you cannot do that work for them, and trying to do so actually interferes with it. When a parent rushes in to make the bad feeling go away, the child never learns to sit with discomfort and discover that they can survive it. They never develop what psychologists call emotional resilience, the ability to experience something hard without falling apart. Warren Buffett has spoken many times about the power of long-term thinking. He has said that the decisions you make today shape what is possible 10 years from now. That is true in investing, and it is just as true in parenting. Every time you allow your adult child to feel something difficult without rescuing them from it, you are making a long-term investment in their strength. You are building something that will serve them long after you are gone. And this is what it really comes down to, isn't it? That question that every good parent eventually has to face. What happens to my child when I am no longer here? If the answer to that question makes you uncomfortable, if somewhere inside you, you are not sure your adult child could handle life without your regular financial help, without your emotional management, without your constant problem solving, then the most loving thing you can do right now is begin to step back. Gently, gradually, but deliberately. Because the goal was never to raise a child who needs you forever. The goal was always to raise a person who can stand on their own, find their own way, build their own life, and choose to have you in it, not out of necessity, but out of love. And, Let me say something that does not get said enough. When you stop doing these 4 things, when you stop paying bills that are not yours, stop solving problems that are not yours, stop sacrificing your peace for everyone else's comfort, and stop managing emotions that are not yours to manage, something remarkable often happens. Your relationship with your children actually gets better, because you stop being the bank, and the therapist, and the fixer, and you become something more valuable, a real person they can talk to, learn from, and love freely. Buffett once wrote that families can be driven apart by the unspoken weight of money and expectation. He said that the families he watched stay close were the ones that were honest, that talked openly, that treated each other as capable adults. That is the vision worth working toward. Not a family held together by need, but one held together by genuine love and respect. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to sit with these 4 things honestly. Not with guilt. Guilt is not useful here, but with honesty. Ask yourself, where am I still stepping in when I should be stepping back? Where am I spending money, energy, or peace that I cannot afford to spend? And where have I stopped trusting my adult children to handle the beautiful, difficult, necessary work of being grown? You have already done the hardest part of parenting. You raised them. You got them here. What comes next? Protecting your own future, honoring your own needs, and trusting in the person you spent decades helping them become. That is not abandonment. That is wisdom. And at this stage of life, wisdom is the greatest gift you can give to them and to yourself.